Do you believe there would be an increase or decrease in sexual assault and things of that nature projected on women if there were no rules and laws against it in society?
Hmm.
It,
Damn.
which is to say,
Hmm.
if a man could commit that act and not be penalized for it, do you think the potential of that? Do you think there's potential that would increase, or it would decrease, or stay the same?
Hmm.
That's an interesting question.
That is.
One
That
I'm not
really
willing to
is.
explore.
Oh,
I don't want
wow.
to find out.
Well, we definitely probably don't want to find out.
Right.
Hmm.
But it is interesting though.
That is a
And
very interesting question. Hmm.
my reason for saying that is in response to what you just said about clearly that women aren't deserving of it. But I want you to consider the fact that humans are
Mm-hmm.
animals.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's still primal nature in
Mm-hmm.
mankind.
Yes.
Now, we've stomped out a lot of that with political correctness
Okay.
and certain community,
Mm-hmm.
exploring femininity in men. So that innate nature, though
Mm-hmm.
some of those innate qualities have been, diminished significantly. But make no mistake, if civilization was to collapse today and there were no laws and rules governing behavior, and there were
Mm-hmm.
no police to call,
Mm-hmm.
answer me honestly. Do you think it would be a good idea as a woman to walk down the street in that kind of outfit?
Heck, you know. No.
Heck, you know.
It's not good anytime, whether it was laws in place or not. But I was just giving an
No, no,
example of the
but here's what I'm saying. The laws
uh-huh.
in place, the laws in place affords you the argument. Now you have a stage to say,
Mm-hmm.
well, they violated me and they did these things. Let's say
Mm-hmm.
those laws were not in place. Wouldn't you be significantly more cautious about the things that you do? Would you not avoid
Absolutely.
subjecting yourself to those kind of situations? Would you
So
be
it should
more
decrease
respectful of
then.
your man when he tells you, no, don't wear that? No, don't go there. No,
Yeah.
because I can't go with you and I can't protect you. Would you be more considerate of the fact that if you do wear it and you do go there and he goes with you, he is probably going to be subjected to that violence in defense of you
And now,
because
like you
because there
said,
are no
it's going to
laws. There
decrease
are
now.
right. There are
It
no
decreased
laws to
now.
protect you.
Yeah. So
Right.
it's going to decrease. Yeah, absolutely. Because now you're going to have more, it's way more cautious now because of that not being in play. Yeah. So it'll decrease. That makes sense.
Okay.
Interesting
So
question.
it's just
Very interesting.
perspective,
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
we really have to consider all the different perspectives of the things that we're talking about and addressing because we tend
Mm-hmm.
to see it from one perspective because that perspective is the one that most people talk about.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to
Yeah.
point fingers. I don't want to get into the finger pointing game, right?
Mm-mm.
But I love accountability and dressing the root cause of an issue. I do
Yeah.
like that,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so I'll share my perspective because I think an exchange of perspective helps us grow and understand. We learn from that. We're able to mature.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Some
You
people
get to the
don't.
root.
They don't care to hear someone else, the other person's perspective. They don't care to see it from their perspective. And so they carry on as if what they see and what they know and how they do it is the only way.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So you're
Yeah.
out there wearing the kind of clothes and doing the activities and being in their environments because of your perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, not giving consideration to the dangers you might be subjecting yourself or whoever you're with to.
Right.
Yep.
And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's a huge part of it. Accountability and perspective are incredibly important to me. Accountability
Mm-hmm.
more than anything else. Okay.
Yep.
And you can't have, as a man, you can't have accountability and responsibility without authority. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it, If you are going to hold me accountable for somebody disrespecting you in public, if you are going to hold me responsible for your safety when we're in public, then I'm going to have authority over some of these things and activities that you involve yourself in.
And what you wear when you walk out of
I'm
that
not going
house,
to become your master.
okay?
I'm not trying to imprison you.
Mhm.
I'm not the police. I'm not going to put handcuffs on you. But I got to have some authority. I got to have some say so over this, or it's not going to work.
Mhm. Yep. That's why
Yeah.
with women, I be looking like if your dude say, "Oh no, where you think you about to go with that on?" or da da da, and it's like just pay attention. If you're conscious enough to understand what you have on, and then if you are in that area, like you said, that open-minded communication with your dude, and just be like, you know what? Yeah, I might need to go take this off. I need to go change that. Yeah, that is very, very important. And women, they are not thinking about that. I am going to make sure I remember to bring that up the next time I talk to some women too about that, because I don't dress in that manner. I don't know. I've never experienced none of that either. Being out on dates or anything either, because I'm not that woman. I don't dress that way. I don't even wear makeup. So we're gonna just start at that. I don't do anything, none of that stuff. So I've never encountered that, but I've seen it happen, before in public, and
Hmm.
I'm just like, she can't get mad. It's just like that Sierra situation, the dress she had on, and who was that? Kiki Palmer, that blew up on her because of the dress she had on. It's like, look what y'all got on. Like, and you with your dude, but look at this too. If she out with her dude, what's his name? Russell, Sierra husband, she was halfway
Yeah.
naked. He was standing next to her. So if he ain't got a problem with it, why everybody else got an issue with it? That's his life and that's his woman and that's what he do. Why? I have no clue. That's only
Yeah.
between him and her, and that's in their household. But look what he
Yeah.
got. Social
Well,
media like slammed
celebrities
him
I make no
down. You
comment
know what I
on.
mean?
Celebrities
Yeah.
I make no comment on because they
I'll just
that's
say if you put yourself
yeah.
in a public space, then you can't, be mad at people for passing judgment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go,
True.
because they slander him all over Instagram. Like, he can't get mad. Look what happened to you. Look what you.
Once
Well,
you subject yourself to public criticism, you can't be mad about the criticism that you receive. I mean, you can technically, but it's kind of pointless. It's asinine because you put yourself in that space.
Right.
You know, you basically asked for it and then got angry when you got it, and
yeah,
it logically that doesn't make any sense.
yeah. Well, we have these conversations, even going back to the dad part. I get and I understand everybody's point of view. It was very, very good to listen and to hear that. Um, I just,
Celebrate dads, man. Stop buying them socks and screwdrivers. Stop giving them work to do on Father's Day. Rub that man's feet. He been standing in them heavy ass boots. The boots got steel toes in them. Okay? You've been in the house in furry sandals all day long.
Furry sandals.
Rub his feet. He rub your feet,
I
don't he?
don't know.
You don't never rub his feet. Why don't you massage his back one time? You know how many times he think about going to get a massage because you don't massage his back? You know how bad that man back hurt? Don't he
And I
massage your
wouldn't even
back?
have a problem with
Okay?
doing all of
All
that
the
stuff for
things,
my
let me tell you
dad.
something. All the things that not all the things, but there's a lot of things that you want as a woman for your man to do that your man want you to do too. He wants you to rub his back and rub his head and massage his feet. He's not going to say that probably, but go ahead and give it a try. He's
Right.
not
He's
going to
going
say
to
it, but give it
enjoy
a
it.
try. Go ahead, give it a try. And I'm not. It's not
Hmm.
to emasculate men or make them more feminine or anything like that. It's love. It's show you how you show affection.
Hmm.
Don't you find? Don't you love that kind of embrace? Don't you like those things when he does it? What makes you think a man don't like that too? What makes you think it don't feel good to him? If you ever ate a piece of chocolate, it's delicious. You love it in your mouth. As a woman, it tastes good. It tastes good to me too. It tastes the same. It's delicious. I like the
That's
same
Hmm.
thing.
delicious.
Yeah. And it's
Okay.
funny, you have to attract those things. Like the stuff that you want, you have to be that in order to attract that, right? So it's kind
K-
of hard nowadays to attract that person when the way that it is now and how things are built. It's a lot of guys and women that don't reciprocate those things. Like they don't understand that. So it's like you attract who you are.
I
And
don't
if you
think
are going to ask for a man that's, oh, I want a man that's making six figures, he in the gym and he doing all this and that, well, you need to be that.
I don't think
Women ask for things that they're not.
because whatever
Because women live in a fantasy.
whatever
Yeah, they do.
I think whatever got you to come together, once you get together, you learn each other. So you're open, honest, and you're like, babe, I like when you do X, Y, and Z. Babe, I like this. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I like to have cars. Let me give you a pedicure. Let me do this for you. Yeah, lay down, and let me give you a massage. And they'll say, yeah, I don't like you when you rub me up there, not my shoulders, the middle of my back, my lower back, whatever.
Mm.
If you're open and honest with who you're,
Mm-hmm.
then you don't have to know and you don't have to be that. You just got to be open and honest and say, babe, I like when you do this. I don't like when you do that. And you both do that, and then you grow and you learn each other, you learn what you like, and that's what it's supposed to be because you didn't grow up together. You're in two separate
Now
households.
I'm speaking
Yeah.
for the people that does not know how to communicate that. Some people don't know how to communicate
I'm,
their needs and their wants in relationships, and that becomes another issue and problem. But it goes back to communication, like you just said. If you can't communicate, you have people that's having a hard time with communicating those things to each other, and that causes a dead boat in the relationship as well. So it's just a lot.
Between between the sexes, men and women, which of the sexes expects the other to be able to read their mind?
Women always think that a man's
If
supposed to
if
read their mind.
if your answer is women, okay, fine. If if that is the precedent, which of the sexes has a greater challenge with communication?
you
Women.
guys,
It's the
Women.
Because I
women.
can't read your
It's
mind?
it's
right?
women. No, it's women because
No, no, I don't tell you, so I'm not communicating. So you can't communicate with me because I think you're supposed to already know what I'm thinking before you know it. So I mean,
My question who has an issue with communicate? Who
it's the
is
woman.
struggling with communicating?
It's the
oh,
The
woman.
person who wants the other person to read their mind.
right,
I
that's
don't
Hmm.
want you to
Mm.
read my mind. I'm going to tell you exactly what I want.
What I want.
You say,
Hmm.
let's go to dinner. Let's go out.
right.
Okay. I say, okay, I want steak. You say, I don't know what I want. I'm not sure. I start
Hmm.
making suggestions. You hate every suggestion I make.
Hmm. You say I don't know. I'm confused. I don't. Yeah. Hmm.
Here's an idea. How about you tell me what you want? Because I can't read your mind. Obviously, all of my guesses are wrong. I've
Hmm.
already communicated to you exactly what I want
I
and
want
how
it.
I feel.
Hmm.
I want steak, medium well, T-bone is good, New York strip is all right. That's what I want. What do you want? I don't know. Where
I
do you want
don't
to
know.
go?
I don't got a taste
I'm
of
not
that.
sure. You pick.
There you go. He
But then
But I
absolutely
don't.
I
right.
pick and you
That's
don't want
why I
it.
said women. That's why I
I
said
don't want.
women because we do.
And I'm agreeing with you because I don't want to read your mind. I never took that course in school. If I did, I probably would have failed it.
Hmm.
I got plenty of other things going on in my head to be trying to read your mind. Tell me
Right.
exactly what you want.
Now I'm gonna throw you another dynamic and a hook into my experience on communicating what I wanted in the past of one of my relationships. One of my third marriage, I had ran into an issue where I could not communicate to him due to him always seeming like whatever I stated my needs and my wants, it came off as nagging. So you'll have sometimes if you have men or women, because it can go both ways in a relationship, and you explain what it is that you want, what you need, or whatever the case may be, and it comes off as if, oh, you crazy, or you this and that and you other, that shut me down from me being to have that ability to be able to state what it is that I wanted. So I had to heal that part of me so that I'm able to open back up and be vulnerable enough to be able to speak on what it is that I want. So you have that dynamic too, and even with my father, when I used to try to express to my dad what it was that I wanted from him as a father and what I needed from him, my dad would shut me down. with words and all kind of stuff. I would get hung up on and just all of that. So if you have women that's in that era, a lot of times it streams from that for some. I can't speak for all, but I know that was my issue with expressing what it is that I wanted and what I needed in relationships, because it came off as I was nagging, or I was crazy, or whatever the case may be. So you have to take that into consideration when you're dating some women, and you might want to ask that question, like, have you had an issue with expressing yourself, and why? And ask them why, because some women don't. It comes from that too. It just
You
depends on
met
that
you
background.
you mentioned your previous marriages and those situations, and you mentioned your dad. My question for you is, if you can recall, during these instances where you were asserting what it is that you had an issue with or what you wanted, what what was going on? Like, did he come home from work and you start to tell him? Because let me tell you something. If I walk in the door
Mm-mm.
and I ain't been
No.
in the house, I haven't been in the house 5 minutes, and you already telling me, I told you to fix this door and I want you to get the dryer
Yeah.
out, and the dog keep biting up the couch. That's that you nagging. I don't want to hear that.
Nah,
I
it
just
ain't
got
one of
here.
those.
Let me get the
Nah.
let me get the world off my back first. Okay,
Yeah.
before you set off on me. Okay, you're gonna set it
Yeah.
off. I need some time to decompress.
Mm-mm. It
Okay.
wasn't none of those type of none of those nagging situations. I never been that woman to do that. It would be more of expressing quality time, or stuff in that nature, like that. Like, what would I like to do, going out on dates and things of that nature, or whatever. It could be things like that. Or I didn't care for the fact, or the conversation that we had yesterday. I didn't like how you said that to me. Can we talk about it? Stuff like that. It wasn't anything about nagging or what was like he just coming in the house. It would be anytime. And I had to understand that he had issues as well with that, for whatever reason it was. It stemmed back also to him, whatever issue he had with hearing somebody requesting things from him. He would want everything met on his end, but he didn't want to meet none of my needs or my wants. So it was more of one of those. That's what I said, I learned. I learned a lot from that. And then my dad is kind of the same way. When I speak to my dad and ask him maybe what I want, it's not about what I want. It was always about what my dad wanted. So as long as he's able to talk to me and tell me what he wanted and expected from me, he didn't want to hear me either. So I don't know. That's something that comes from their internal issues that they have, and then it got projected onto me. So it shut me down. I get to a point where I'll shut down and I won't even talk, because I don't want to hear that. That sounds crazy. Like, don't no woman want to hear that when she's trying to talk or express herself anyway. And for men too, because men don't have that safe space sometimes, when women might do that too. Are you weak sitting up here telling me about that? Or you have women
Right.
that'll throw what you said to them and throw it in your face after y'all have a argument that ain't even got nothing to do with what's going on. Women do that as well, so it causes a shutdown. And sometimes that too stems from what you just saying. A simple question is, what do you want? What is it that you want? And men not being able to read your mind, but you got women sometimes just scared to be able to speak their needs and they want due to that. But that's something she has to fix. That's not your issue. That's that woman's issue to fix that. And to recognize, where did that come from? You have to get the root to everything and every issue that you're coming across in these relationships, and find out what is the root of that. Where did that come from? I was just conscious enough to be able to get to that and understand where it came from.
I think an issue that a lot of people have in relationships, it seems very common, obviously, is communication. But uh, communication is just the baseline of it. If you get into the intricacies of it, it's really that not only do they struggle with communication, but uh, they struggle with variety as well, right? Let's say you're a telemarketer and your job is to sell a service, internet or phone service or whatever the case may be. They teach you, you get a script to read, right? And they
True.
teach you how to overcome like rejection
Yep.
Hmm.
and being denied or whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
So initially when you get the job, your approach, it's probably gonna be a little bit mechanical. You just learn the script and so forth and so on. You're gonna get rejected. After a while, you learn how to tailor the script to yourself and then apply it to the work, which is to
Hmm.
say, you know that each individual is going to respond differently. and you know how to overcome those responses. Well, I think that's a lot of the issue as far as communication is concerned with most relationships. You say or you express yourself one kind of way, and because he doesn't understand or he's not receptive, or he doesn't respond in a way that you want or need him to, you stop, you shut it down.
Because of
Maybe tailor
rejection.
maybe tailor your approach. Maybe that
Mm-hmm.
approach was not the best approach. I've had conflict, for example, at work, in my work environment. When I was a younger person, uh, these conflicts would generate emotional responses at times.
Mm-hmm.
The overwhelming majority of the conflicts I would have are with men. And so, there's a natural propensity almost to get aggressive in those
Mm-hmm.
conflicts. The issue with that is I could do that part easily, but it never got me what I actually wanted to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
What I wanted was not to escalate the conflict. It was to get a particular thing, right? And so what I learned is if I tailor my approach, I can get a more desired outcome. Where if I'm asking you something or to do something one way and you don't seem to get it, I'm going to try another way and another way and another way and another way. I asked you to do the dishes. You did not do the dishes. I do the dishes.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow I come and I ask you to do the dishes. You don't do the dishes. That same approach is going to lead to the same result. That's insanity. The day
Mm-hmm.
after that, I'm not going to do the dishes. That's going to be the first sign. And that's going to make you question why the dishes aren't done. Well, I asked you to do the dishes. Now let's have a conversation about it. You see how I tailored my approach to get a different result? I had to change
Mm-hmm.
my actions in order to prompt their actions to change as well. And so oftentimes what we need to do is examine how we're approaching communication, realizing that even with someone that that you're familiar with, communication is not going to be it's not stringent. There are times that you're going to have to try something else. It's like
Mm-hmm.
dealing with a child. Adults are just grown children anyway. some of
That's
them
all.
some of them
That's
just
all.
haven't even grown, but
Mm-hmm.
adults are grown children. So when you're dealing with a child and they're not listening to the first thing you tell them, you don't shut down and say, well, I guess they're just not going to do it, they're not going to learn. You try many different things, but you're not going to give up. Is basically the point. You don't just shut it down. You're dealing with a
Mm-hmm.
child. They need to understand the point. They need, the point you're trying to get across to them. That you need them to understand that you want them to, and it's vital to their survival and their life experience. So you're going to try different things. You're going to make adjustments to your approach, whether it be vocal inflections or disciplining them in a particular way or depriving them of certain things that they enjoy. You're going to get the point across. In fact, with most people, the problem is they don't go through those steps. They go from step A to step Z. Step A being the first way they attempt to communicate, step Z being
Mm-hmm.
violence or shutting down. Like what happened
Mm-hmm.
to B, C, D, E, F, G, and you got to try all the rest of those too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
You
I
do.
did. Now you got people too where you can try all of that. My dad is definitely in that. They was one of them. Now I'm not going to say like immediately I shut down. This is after several attempts, and I found that when I shut down, or I like with my dad, I literally had to stop talking to him for 6 years in order to get a different response from him when he came back. Once I came back, it was a different response. And the same thing with the ex husband. When I would go into a silent treatment mode, which is abuse, because it was being done to me, I would mirror the things and I say, okay, now I'm going to get a different result, but it shouldn't be like that. That's why I said that stems from that person. I was not raised that way. I didn't get exposed to silent treatment knowing it was abuse until I got with him. I didn't even know what that meant. I had no clue what a silent treatment was. I didn't know what that was. I said, why is it that he's not talking to me? He would not talk to me for weeks and weeks at a time if I said no to something or it was something I didn't agree with. I would get the shutdown and he wouldn't talk to me for like a week or so. And I didn't even understand what that was. I said, what is this? I had actually looked that up and came up silent treatment is a form of abuse. And that was the way that he would
Mm-hmm.
operate. So when I would go through these motions and try to talk to him, try to do this and do that, then I got to the point where well, let me see if I mirror this action, will it work? And it's the same thing with my dad. My dad does the silent treatment as well, and he still does that. You have to
I
shut down on some of these people and pull back your energy, and then you get this response, and you like, I don't even want to talk anymore. It's
to
like I
to
tried.
to me, the silent treatment is a last resort.
Yeah.
Because like you said, it can be considered a form of abuse. I guess. I honestly, actually, I don't know. I can't really speak on that because I don't understand that perspective. It would have to be
Yeah.
explained to me. What I can tell you is I've safeguarded myself from individuals by doing that, which is to say, uh, this individual is conducting themselves in a way that is disagreeable to me. I
Hmm.
express to them that their actions are disagreeable. I say it just like that. I say it straight out so you understand it unequivocally. There's no mistaking what I'm saying. Okay? What you're doing does not work for me.
Hmm.
If after trying to express that same point, but pursuing different avenues to get it across, you are not receptive, that my last resort is to cease all communications with you completely. Now,
Yeah.
again, I've done it a couple times, but I tailor it in such a way that I sever that relationship completely. Now you have
Yeah. And
zero
it's
access
done.
to me. You have zero
Yeah.
access to my thoughts and my views and my perspectives and my wisdom
Hmm.
and anything else, even the
Yep.
sound of my voice. You're going to get nothing at all from me. At
Yep.
this point, you should understand. You should
Yep.
understand what's going on. There's zero communication. We don't have a relationship because I
Yeah.
try to express this to you verbally and you were not receptive. Maybe you're receiving it now.
Hmm.
So
Yep. Yep.
to me, the silent treatment is like a termination, right?
Hmm.
To
Yep.
me, the silent treatment is I don't like again, I would say I can't say it's a form of abuse, but it can be violent
Yeah.
because I'm
Hmm.
destroying our relationship purposefully now. I don't want to have anything to do with you. I will never speak to you again. You will never hear a word out of my mouth. You won't get my opinion. You won't get my perspective. You won't know my views. You won't know what I'm thinking. You're just gonna have to speculate.
Hmm.
So for me, the
Absolutely.
silent treatment
Mm-hmm.
is the absolute last resort before violence.
Yep.
For me, you know what I'm saying? For me
I know. I hear you.
specifically, so I don't, I avoid that at all costs. And in fact, I'll tell people, I'll let them know that look, you are skating on thin ice, my friend. Like you don't understand.
You don't want that
I,
smoke.
I
Hmm.
you don't want this, right? 'Cause let's maintain our friendship. Let's keep things the way they are because
Right.
I'm gonna shut this down for you real quick, and that's it. Here's a termination notice. Have a nice life. We no longer have a relationship.
Hmm.
I've heard people talk about you shouldn't burn bridges. My view instead is make sure you don't have to cross that bridge again if you decide to burn it.
Yep. I'm gonna
But
burn the whole building
but if
down. I'm
you
not gonna have to
decide to
cross
burn
it.
that bridge, I'm nuking that bridge. You're
Oh
not
yeah,
going to
it's
be able to
going
cross
down.
it. The
Nuking.
area is going to be toxic. You're not going to want to visit. Like
I'm
just
gonna
go a
push
different
you
way. Yeah,
over, then I'm gonna
yeah.
burn the whole thing down.
Go
Yes,
a whole different way because that bridge is no longer existent. It's
yep.
completely non-existent. I'm gonna nuke it. I'm gonna nuke that bridge.
Absolutely. Yep. Wow.
Oh, well, I guess we should talk about dads again, huh?
All of it go together,
Yeah, it
but
all go together.
communication, everything,
Just
just
Let,
streaming from
let,
all
let me
kind of
my,
stuff.
my next question, why don't they toot their own horns? But you guys already answered and said some of them don't deserve it. How
Mm-hmm.
can you toot your own horn if you're not there or whatever? You're not doing what you're supposed to do. I guess that would be a reason why.
my response to that was that we don't revel in celebration. We don't.
Hmm.
It does. You got to be like a musician or actor or something to want to, as a man, to want to be celebrated like that. For the most part, men don't
Hmm.
generally revel in celebration. It does. We don't get gratification from it. It's not something that boosts our ego. It's not, it's not really something that most men seek out. And so, truthfully, there needs to be a balance, okay? If you commit a crime, the commensurate punishment has to be, it has to fit the crime, right?
Right.
Everything, my mom used to tell me this, everything in moderation. And so if we're gonna blow the roof off the house for mothers, because you brought it back to the question, if we're going to blow the roof off the house, which I am not opposed to, except let's do it in somebody else's house and not mine, uh, then we've got to blow the roof off the house for dads too. Because if we don't do that, all these questions are going to be raised. And we don't examine the negative aspects of motherhood, those horrible mothers who are terrible parents when it comes to celebrating mothers on Mother's Day. We don't say, but there are horrible mothers too. No, we say, let's celebrate mothers. Motherhood is a difficult thing. Mothers are a wonderful thing. They should be celebrated. Let's do that. Let's show our appreciation for them. Yes, I
Mm-hmm.
agree. So if we're going to do that for mothers, the same should be done for fathers, without regard to the fact that there are horrible fathers as well, because we know they exist. That's not the point right now. The point is to celebrate the ones who are not like that, and by so
Right.
doing, encourage them to continue being the ones who warrant celebration, and hopefully that would spread amongst other men as well.
Right.
True.
Definitely hopeful that it does. I think, I mean, kind of going back to what you said about, tooting your own horn. I think that a lot of times as fathers, and again, I'm speaking not from experience, but guessing, speculative. Uh, it just seems as though there's always been a stigma that whatever it is that a man does as a father is what he's supposed to be doing. So like we get that, right? So now because of that, we don't ever want to like over celebrate ourselves because it's like that's going to always be the comeback. Well, you're supposed to do that, right? But again, that's never the case when it comes to mothers, but it is with us. And I think now it's just something that we've just taken on and we live it. Again, stuff has been like entrenched in us for so long. It's like you asking us to change the game in the ninth inning. It ain't gonna happen.
I'm going to tell you this much. What there's something you just said. I had a thought for it and I lost it, but again, I feel like most men don't necessarily want a huge celebration.
Right.
Uh, and my personal view is no one should be celebrated for doing something they are supposed to do,
Hmm.
which is to say, Mother's Day and Father's Day technically should be for exceptional parents because it's a celebration. You shouldn't be celebrated just for being a parent. You shouldn't be celebrated just for fathering or mothering a child. That why am I celebrating you? Okay, you're a
Right.
parent. That's like celebrating a student for going to school.
Hmm.
You are a student. That's your responsibility. That's your job. I'm not going to celebrate you for that. What I'm going to celebrate is if you excel in school,
Right.
right? If you do better than your other classmates, that means you're putting in extra work, you're spending extra time, you're doing the work and the due diligence to be better. We can celebrate that. As a
Right.
mother, if you feed your child, good job.
You
Why
supposed
am I
to.
celebrating? If you clothe your child, great. I hope you put clothes on them. Why am I celebrating? If you house them and so forth and so on. Same thing for a father. Same exact thing for a father. Both sides of that coin are the exact same to me.
Hmm.
Why am I celebrating you for something that you're supposed to be doing anyway? You decided to take on being a parent there were options you could have explored to not be a parent, but you accepted the fact and you decided to tackle being a parent. Good on you. Congratulations. Welcome to the party. Why are we celebrating you for doing the things that you're supposed to do anyway as a parent? It doesn't make any sense to me. So, in closing, celebrating mothers and fathers should be for exceptional parents. Okay, and not the mediocrity that we do now, and to promote capitalism, as Q pointed out earlier,
For sure.
because that's all it does. It sells a bunch of stuff and actually increases the divide between fathers and mothers as it stands.
All right. Then, is there a solution to lowering the number of single parent homes?
We already
Changing
answered
the
that
court
question.
system,
Okay.
Mm.
Okay. And how would
significant changes to the family court laws and how they are delineated amongst the population of fathers and mothers.
Mm.
you
I can
get
Mm-hmm.
agree with that.
more information on that? What do you mean?
I mean, uh,
Stop making the kids a paycheck. That's what
well,
I think that's what he's
more,
Yeah.
saying.
That was
more than just that,
Hmm.
right? Uh, I've been in a family court and I've seen how business is conducted.
Hmm.
I'll tell you some of what I've seen. You go into the court and you're greeted by a woman security guard.
Hmm.
Wow.
You go to the clerk's window and it's pretty much all women.
Mm-hmm.
You get your documentation and the court that you're assigned to, and you go to that area and you sit, and on one side there's a bunch of guys, and on the other side is a bunch of women.
And
You
the
go
judge is a
into the
woman.
you go into the courtroom. You go into the courtroom. The bailiff is a woman.
Mm-hmm.
The other attorney, not your attorney, but the other attorney is a woman. The stenographer is a woman. The judge is a woman. As a man, this is not a group of your peers.
Gotcha. I got
Yep.
Okay? With that being the precedent, how then can any man walk into that situation with the confidence of uh, getting a result that he desires?
Yeah, he outnumbered by a whole lot of
If you if you
emotions.
if
Okay.
you if you were a victim of sexual assault by a man and you
Mm-hmm.
walked into a court to address this, and when you walked into the courtroom, the bailiff is a guy,
Mm-hmm.
the person who assaulted you, the attorney is a guy, the stenographer is a guy, all of the jury is a guy, the judge is a guy. You're probably not going to feel like you're getting a fair shake here.
you.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Where was
think
it coming from?
this is probably an experience that many men have in those instances, in those
Hmm.
situations. So I think addressing the laws and the rules which ultimately decide whether or not the child is going to be with this parent or that parent, the laws and the rules which govern uh, the child support parameters, custody parameters, and things of that nature. All of them need to be examined in order to affect change the way we desire. However, I don't think that's ever going to happen because I feel like all those laws and rules are in place the way they are for a reason.
Hmm.
And the
Mm-hmm.
reason is the reality that we live. They accomplish the mission. It's the
Yeah.
destruction of the family structure
Of the
because
household.
it
For sure.
makes it significantly easier to manipulate the population if the family is destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
A
And
house
that puts
divided amongst
it
itself
puts the
cannot
woman
stand.
in
And so you
submission.
have chaos in the home, the family is destroyed. And so now, me as an outside influence, it's easier for me to infiltrate.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Before
Yeah.
we can address the issues with absenteeism as fathers, before we can address the issues with uh, uh, burgeoning single mother household numbers, we have to address the laws that are applicable to these situations and
Mm-hmm.
how they are applied because they are not fair and they are not applied fairly.
No, they are not.
Agree.
What do you
Mm-hmm.
think? There are couples who stay together for the sake of the children, even though their relationship is horrible. Do you think this causes more harm than good when you have people that want to stay together for the sake of the children?
I'll be honest with you. I don't think most people who are parents should be parents to begin with. I think a lot of people. I think a lot of people step into parenthood not being prepared for it,
Mm-hmm.
having only been on the periphery of being a parent, which is to say they were friends with someone who had a child or it's a relative's child. You know, they've been parent adjacent, but obviously they've never done the parenting themselves, so they don't really know what to expect and how to handle it. And
Mm-hmm.
that's a huge weight, I assume, once you step into that role.
Yep.
I feel like most of the people who end up becoming parents should not be parents in the first place. But if you become a parent, that is a shared responsibility. So
Mm-hmm.
destroying your relationship, unless there's abuse, unless there is violence, unless there is wanton disrespect, uh, figure it out, figure
Mm-hmm.
it out, because that child that you're raising together or separately is going to grow up in society, and they're
Yep.
going to have countless counterparts who are raised in the same way. They're going to be raised in broken homes if you don't figure it out.
Yep.
And we all live in that society already. We know what that's about. We know how we know what the result of that is going to be. A huge prison population, uneducated people, crime everywhere. We already know we're living that. We know that. To affect change, you have to start in the household. You have to change how you conduct business in the household. Don't just jump ship. Don't just abandon the relationship because things get tough.
Mm-hmm.
Things are going to get tough. That is life. Life happens in waves. Sometimes you're on the top of the wave and you feel hot and the breeze is blowing in your face and maybe a little salt water splash in your mouth and you feel great. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you're beneath the wave and it comes crashing on top of you. And a barrel rolls you under there and you're tumbling and you don't know if you're going to make it. That's life. That's how it occurs. It occurs in waves. It's not always going to be great. Nobody jumps ship when it's great, though. When
Right.
things are beautiful and wonderful, nobody even thinks about considering jumping ship.
Mm-hmm.
So, the same way you're able to stick it out when things are great, why can't you stick it out when you hit some rough patches? Again, uh, notwithstanding, abuses, violence, things of that nature, obviously that discredits continuing to pursue that relationship.
Mhm.
Clearly, it's not a healthy relationship. But if you got a few issues that make you feel some type of way, don't just jump ship. Fathers, mothers, both of you, don't do it because you have a child. And now you're going to subject that child to being raised probably the same way you were raised, leading to the same results, repeating the cycles. It's insanity.
Mm.
Well, it's up to us, the people that know, because once you start knowing and you know better, you break those cycles and you have to. That's exactly what I wanted to do. I was like, I have to. If I have another child, it will not go that way.
Know
It's
your role,
the lessons.
accept your role, perform your role.
Yeah.
It's that simple. You do it at work.
Mm.
You know what your job is. You accept
Right.
that that's your job. You
Right.
perform your job.
Mhm.
Yep.
So my next question: does getting an education play a major role in the way children develop into responsible adults? Uh,
Say
and
When
that
you
then
say
again.
getting an education, do you mean just like the
major
classical education, or
responsible adults.
hold on, say that again? You skipped out.
It's breaking up.
Oh, sorry. Does getting an education play a major role in the way children develop into responsible adults?
I
Like who's getting
What kind of
education?
education we talking about?
right.
Yeah, like who and who's getting? You talking about the parents being
No,
educated, college educated?
school and getting an education from grade school to high school, does that help them to develop into responsible adults? Does
No,
education play a role, or is it the parents that play the role?
it's the parents, and I say that because if you're dependent on the educational system that we have currently, then I'm gonna say no. Because if you
Yeah.
use that educational system without the parental guidance, if you just sending the kid to school, that's not going to make them a responsible adult. If you are also engaging in some education, then I think that's more helpful. And I'm only saying that for me because, granted, I was able to complete school and get I stopped at my bachelor's, but I did get a bachelor's degree. But I know that school isn't for everyone, and everything that I learned out of a textbook didn't necessarily make me a better person. It was the education that I got outside of school, and the kind of. So hold on, let me backtrack. So I do think that the school maybe gives you some sort of structure, but without some kind of extra education, like I still think it's kind of pointless. I mean, going to school from elementary to high school is it's like being on the yard. It's like being in prison, bro. Like I don't want to make the equation, but I mean it really does. It makes you live from bell to bell. Like it's either getting you ready for a prison or for a job. And when I say a job, I mean a job. You know, the one that you don't want to go to, not the profession, not the career, but the job, the one that you hate punching into, but like you got to pay these bills. Like I think it sets you up for that. So without that extra education and parental involvement, and I won't even say just parental, I'll say community involvement because some of us maybe didn't have the best parents, but we had some people in our lives that helped us get to where we are. So educate or the school system as it is by itself, no, I don't think it makes the kid any better. I think you have to have the parental and community environment to bring out the best in the child, whether that's a single parent or both parents at the crib.
You do see where you see some of those parents thinking just because they drop their kid off at school that that's all they got to do. You be like,
Right.
nope, that
And
is
that
lazy parenting for real. And they're like,
yes,
oh, you
that
been in
can't be
school
it.
all day. They come in there, they came in the house, throw your book bag, go do your homework. Like, are you assisting with this homework? Like, nothing. It's like they're making this kid fend for themselves when they get home. They have no clue what's going on. Don't talk to the teachers. Don't have no type of involvement or communication with the teachers in the school. So no, it's a problem. And half of the time, you know your kid, that kid being bullied at the house. I mean, at school. So you have all that stuff coming into play.
I think you're both correct, what you just said, but for the most part, but I'm gonna disagree, and I'm gonna play devil's advocate a little bit for education. And the reason I'll say that specifically is because I went through the public school system, and it definitely had an impact on my growth and development. Uh, a good portion of my character, I think, developed during high school,
Mhm.
and that experience, reflecting on it now, I would say was invaluable in my development. I read a
Mhm.
study that said most parents do 15% of the parenting of their child. 15%, which means the other 85% is done outside of the home. It's
Mhm.
in school, it's with their peers, it's with other influences, external influences. The fact that you're only doing 15%, if this is true, means your 15% has to hold as much weight as the other 85%.
At 80.
It has to be exceedingly impactful. So you have to be not just present, but over present as a parent today.
Mhm.
I grew up with five siblings. My youngest, I have six siblings, but my youngest brother, he came along when I was pretty grown. And my mom specifically stressed the importance of us learning certain things. Math, the sciences, history, uh, language. Stress that. My sister went to Columbia University because my mom made sure she understood the importance of getting an education. My sister has been pretty successful in life. Her children are following the same steps and are going to be successful. My brother is the same way, my older brother. My younger older sister, I'm sure I mentioned to you, uh, she homeschools her son, so that's her path. She doesn't want him in the public school environment. But I don't disagree with her. You know, some public school environments can be pretty horrible and
Yeah.
traumatizing for children.
Yeah.
However, I can't discredit education. One of the additional reasons I would say is because of most of the fact that most of society today is stupid. The stupidly ignorant. You guys, you never see these interviews where they're asking them the simplest question, the simplest of questions. Who was the first president of the United States? The answers insane. Can you name can you name three countries? Can't name three countries. What does the IRS do? Have no clue. Grown-ups,
Yeah.
teenagers,
Mm-mm.
and everything in between. And I'm just sitting there like, oh my God, we're doomed. China's gonna eat our lunch. Chinese kids learn English in like elementary school.
Mm.
Okay, they are going to eat our lunch because we are an ignorant country. And I mean that in the least respectful way. Ignorance in the fact that we're so stupid. It's mind-boggling, actually. It's baffling to me. You know, I speak and I speak a particular kind of way. And the way I articulate myself, I try to get the point across uh, more often than not, believe it or not, using the least amount of words possible.
Mm.
But I love language. I love English. So I like to explore and use different words. Sometimes I'll be talking to people, and to me, it's like regular language. And they're like, oh, you're using fancy words. And I'm like, no, you're just stupid. You can't say that to them. I can't say that to
Of
them. But
course
that's
not.
what I'm thinking.
Right.
Like, that's not a big word, man. It's Catholicism. Oh, what is Catholicism? That's so fancy. No, man, you're ignorant. You're stupid. Read a few books. You will know some more words.
Mm.
Okay. Yes, education is vital. It's crucial. It's exceedingly important. Maybe not the way it's applied today in schools. Maybe not.
Yeah.
That's something else. How we apply the education, what kind of education? Sure, those things we can examine. But education as a factor is crucial. It's important. Just go outside and ask people regular questions and see how stupid you're going to get stupider. You're going to lose brain cells when you do it. Just prepare yourself, okay? You might find yourself in a stupor after that and just confused about what you're supposed to be doing. It's
Yeah.
going to happen. Go out
Yeah.
there and talk to them. Go talk to teenagers. It's terrifying. I'm like, these are the people that are going to be like congressmen and senators and running the country. I'm terrified. I don't want to be an old person here.
Well, and then I had, then I had these new kids that's coming up. The parents throwing the tablet at them and don't even know what the heck they watching
Oh
or what
my
they doing. So
gosh.
it's like, and it's the social media is teaching the kids and all this other crap. So it's kind of like, oh my goodness,
I
yeah.
watched a podcast where there were several women on the podcast, and the host of the podcast presented a question to one of the women. He asked her to name three countries. Her initial response, the first country she named was Paris.
Oh, wow.
I
Mm-mm-mm.
mean, she could at
You
least
know it
said
was all
she could at least
downhill
said
from
here.
there. She said
I think I
Paris,
know who you talking about too.
she said Africa, and I just felt like the stupid like raining down on me. And I'm like, this can't be real. This cannot be an adult. Because last I checked, I had to go check. Paris is a city. It's it's a city in
Right.
France.
There's a little
Okay. But
guy that goes around
that's
on
where we
YouTube.
are in society today. The very common everyday things that people should, just know, they don't know because they're uneducated.
And you know what?
They lack education.
This is a small side note, but I just learned something today that I had no idea, and I kind
Well,
of mad I didn't though. Right? I didn't realize that a portion of World War II was fought in North Africa. I never knew that until today. I don't know why I
Okay.
didn't know that, but I just found that out today. So I'm one of them stupid
Just
people
telling me.
that wasn't paying attention to history. Like I had no idea that a portion of it, like for real,
And
like I
I'm
never knew that. So I saw actual footage today on a documentary on Netflix, and I'm just like, how come I didn't know that?
They didn't teach
I, they
Yeah,
probably did. I probably wasn't
you.
paying attention.
Okay.
there,
yeah.
there's
Well,
probably
you
and
just
there's
teaching me too because obviously I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, I never knew
I
that.
you
wasn't
know
really interested.
stuff like that. When I find stuff because that happens to me every now and then as well. I'll discover something like that, and it encourages me to go and do research
Do
about it
research.
and
Yep.
Yeah,
seek more knowledge and get more knowledge about it.
Right.
yeah,
So you happen upon those kind of things occasionally accidentally, and thinking people it will influence them in one direction. But
mm-hmm.
most people nowadays, they most people probably don't know that. I knew that. Most
Mm-hmm.
people probably don't know that, don't have a desire to know, don't care, and so
That's the scary part. They don't even
it
care
won't
to
it
know.
won't resonate with them, right?
Yeah.
They have not a care at all in that fact. There's a saying that goes, those who do not
Know your history.
familiarize themselves with history are doomed to repeat it. And
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is one of the truest statements ever.
Yeah,
And the fact that we have so many ignorant people in our population who don't know anything about the history or the way the world works or how it's governed or none of these things that are truly important,
Mm-hmm.
we are headed in the wrong direction and it's snowballing downhill and out of control.
yeah.
School your kids and beat them as well. I
And
advocate child abuse.
he didn't. He didn't say discipline. He said beat
Yes.
him.
No,
Beat 'em.
beat them. They
Mhm,
bad. You know they
uh,
bad. They
mhm.
bad, man. I got beat when I was a kid, and it helped me out. I think my mama slapped me upside the head a couple times. Like, listen, boy, I'm not playing. We don't play that, okay? But that
Cause
was
they
back
tried to
when
take that away. You remember they was trying to
listen.
make that a
I,
law
I
and all this. And I'm like, how you gonna tell me what to do with my kid? Because you call me, you tell me they're doing something, and then you don't want me to discipline them. So now they're gonna come back and they're gonna build a bomb and they're gonna blow this school up. But you told me that I couldn't discipline my child. I couldn't
right.
so,
whoop them or I couldn't do whatever. Don't call me when they're in here being disrespectful. Then if you don't want me to put hands on this kid. So how
let
do they feel like they can come in and say that and call that child abuse? Like that's
Right.
not
let me walk my previous statement back just a little bit. I use some strong language. Don't abuse your children. Don't
right.
okay.
Don't abuse
Right.
Don't
them.
abuse them,
Beat him.
but discipline them. Okay,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
because they're getting away with murder. The kids are
Right.
terrible. They're terrible. They are awful. They're terrible. They're ignorant. It's terrifying to be around them.
All
Yeah.
right. I think we already talked about this. Now, what are your thoughts or comments about women who realize, or someone close to them realizes, that they are not great mothers, so they allow someone else to raise their child or children? Because you already said that everybody that has a kid is not great. You're going to be a great mother. So, what do you think about those that their mother takes over, or their aunt or grandmother raises their kids? Um, the first one is okay. Do you think they should go and have another one? And the next thing you know, grandma's raising 2 or 3 kids? Or what are your thoughts on that?
Heck
I, I,
no.
I
Take
think
on that person.
grandma should not take on that responsibility. Grandma
No.
should tell her no.
And tell her to close her legs.
Yeah,
Okay. She got to
yeah.
take self accountability and know that what happened the first time. You should not be out here. No, no, no. I wouldn't have did that to you. So no, no. That's only
Did,
got one
didn't
kid.
didn't Michael Jackson say if you can't feed a baby, don't have a baby? Well, you got one you can't take care of. You gonna have another one,
Uh-huh.
ma'am. You need to have a seat, okay,
Yeah.
with your
Oh
legs
Lord.
crossed.
Yes,
With your legs crossed.
all the way down. Have several seats.
No, I don't think grandparents should assume that responsibility, not a sole responsibility. Don't just pass your child off to me. I raised you. I did enough. I did my fair share. It's not
Yeah.
right. Let me enjoy my old age without having to chase this baby around while you out there throwing it and popping it and making another baby.
Throwing it and popping
That's not right.
it.
Yeah.
I just real quick on the time check though. I do got to slide at 9 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
Oh, let's roll.
Right. So, okay. I have just a couple more questions. What do you think about women who sleep around, get pregnant, and then name the male who has the best financial picture as the father when they know he's not the father? What should happen to her?
Jail.
Go to jail.
All right, next question. Miss
Straight to
Realistically, we
jail.
know that's not gonna happen though. But yeah, that would be
She
cool.
the question was what you think should happen. Okay, you know what should happen to them? Y'all ever seen Game of Thrones? She should be whipped in the streets. They should make her
Yo,
walk naked and shake the bell. Shame, shame, shame,
what?
shame, shame, shame.
Miss
Dog.
No, y'all
Okay.
look, y'all laughing, right? But you're not thinking about the
Yes.
fact that men go to jail for 10, 15, 20 years for children that are not theirs. Men have
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
pay child
Yeah.
support for 18 years and find out the child is not theirs. It's
And don't
not
get a
right.
dime back. And
Yeah.
don't
And
get a
don't get
dime back.
anything back. You don't get your
Yep.
lifetime, the time of your
Get
life that you
nothing.
lost by going to jail back. You don't get none of
Facts.
your money back. You don't get no the relationship with the child. You don't get any of that. And she gets to frolic around and be celebrated on Mother's Day. No, shame. Whip her in the streets naked.
Yo, I ain't heard the word frolic since my grandma, man.
question.
Yo, I got some more words for you. She out here gallivanting all over the place and acting a whole fool. Whip her in the streets. I bet if we started doing that, we would have there would be less of that going on.
Okay,
Yeah.
Miss Law says that if a married woman gives birth to a child whose biological father is not her husband, the husband is the legal parent of the child.
Hmm.
Otherwise, the husband or the wife must file a motion to determine child born out of wedlock to ask the judge to revoke the paternity. What do you think this action does to a man? He's married this woman. She done went off and had a baby by another person, but he's responsible legally. He's responsible for that baby,
Hmm.
And
and
that lead the baby daddy, the real baby daddy, just off and damaged somewhere because you
right,
If
can't have
that
access
if
to
that
your
man if
kid.
that man accept that responsibility, he should get a tattoo across his forehead that says Beta.
Yeah, it's definitely not an
What?
alpha.
What?
Wow.
Come on.
but
Stop it.
I mean, like
I
if
mean,
he
legally you're bound, but we go
right,
have to take the steps to get this figured out.
right.
Yeah.
Legally, he should be allowed to choke her. At least a little bit. If I gotta
He
accept
said
that
at
this
least a
child
little
ain't
bit.
mine, I can't choke
Because
her a
you
little bit.
married.
No. Okay. Next question. When
It's ridiculous. You
hold
see
on,
how ridiculous the laws are? That's what I'm talking about. We gotta address the laws first because they're ridiculous.
hold on. When a married man has a child by a woman who is not his wife, what do you think this action does to the wife? And we saw this in two movies. The movie Ray, which was played by Jamie Foxx, and then Fences with Denzel Washington.
Mhm.
Both of them they were married, but they had kids by how do you think that woman is affected by that?
Oh, she's going to be totally affected. And
But
where did it
She's a
stem
okay,
from? You got to get to the root of it.
when a man finds out that his kid is not his kid, what's the reaction that you guys have noticed, or have you heard about a man who thought the baby was his and then learned as he grew up he doesn't look like him, he looks like his cousin or his best
He
friend?
sure he really could choke her.
right.
Ex- ex- externally,
That does to his psyche and his confidence, and I mean,
externally, most men are relatively reserved about responding to that. They won't express it outwardly. They're not going to shout it from the top of the mountains. But I'll tell you this: when that happens, if you could imagine taking a delicious cookie that is freshly baked and crumbling it into millions of pieces, that's what he experiences.
Mm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
pretty
He
good.
is that. He is that cookie.
That's pretty
Yeah.
good.
Okay, it's
So,
it's exceedingly destructive.
so Candace, what do you think about that woman? Because in both, well, in Fences, he brought that baby to the house because the mother
But the
died.
mother had died.
Nature,
Yeah.
his wife's nature came in and she started caring for the baby. Now,
She definitely was in her feminine god body with that one because she had that compassion about that situation. She actually had to go to a process where I know internally she had to forgive her husband for that in order to take in that baby and take that baby as hers and do because that mother passed away. She looked at it as this is not this kid's fault. I know that my husband went out and did whatever he did. So she took on that role. Now, you have some women that's going to do that. This woman here, I don't know if I'm going to have that much compassion to be able to take on that child. I will probably have to exit that relationship. It just depends on where we at in that marriage, what happened, the root of it, and all of this crap. But I ain't taking. I wouldn't have took on that responsibility. Be honest, I wouldn't have did
Mm.
that. You know,
I'm
if
I'm
I know
I'm
it ain't
with
the
you.
kid fault, I would have gone ahead and told him and that baby to go ahead and exit out the house, and you going to take care of that kid that you went out there and you slept with. You her and had that kid, and because she died, why is that my fault that I have to be that same wife to you and take care of you and this kid that's outside of this house? Like that's not fair. But
I'm
yeah,
I'm I can agree with that, Candace, for sure, because I can't begin to imagine what it'd be like to be a wife and your husband makes a baby outside you that's not yours. It's not with you. I can't imagine the kind of effect that could have on a woman's psyche. I kind of can understand and imagine what it would do to a man, and I
yeah.
and I guess it would probably be along the same lines. I can tell you for myself, if I'm with somebody, let's say I'm married, and and she, step out and make a baby with somebody. Look, you seen the movie Troy? Throw that baby from the top of the. You know what they're gonna do to the women and children when they get in here? They're gonna kill all the men and they're gonna throw the babies from the highest tower. As far as I'm concerned, you could throw her and the baby and that dude
I
from the
want to
highest
go.
tower.
Dog, what?
I don't want to have nothing to do with any of them.
Yeah, they're gonna have to go.
They gotta go. All gotta go. So
Yeah.
I gotta look at his face, his little violation face. That little baby, that
But
Violation
baby
hold
gonna
on,
face.
wear
here's
a
the thing.
violation face his whole life. If
Here's
I
the
gotta look at him every single day and know that that's another man's baby, that's a
Nah,
violation. I'm looking at violation
nah.
in the face every single. I name a
Facts.
violation. Every time I look at you and think about you, that's all I'm thinking about. You're not gonna grow. You're not gonna make it. I can't do
But
this.
this the killer though, if y'all when y'all watch Fence and just pay attention to his reaction when the hospital called and said that the mama died, he almost fell out and had a heart attack. Like, nigga, is you in here really about to have a heart attack? She died, and you want me to stand here and be compassionate with you that your baby mama then died over here? He was very he almost fell out. Like his life was over. Like, really?
Bro,
Ooh,
wait,
just
give my last question because we got 2 minutes. What are your thoughts on men who leave their first family and go and start another one nearby or in another state?
before I answer that, why is it that 80% of divorces are initiated by women?
it's actually 54 now, and then it's 90 if she's educated.
If she's educated,
Yeah.
that's even worse.
Yeah.
My my phone is about to die, and I
Okay,
don't have a
well,
charger.
good. Thank you, everybody, for
I know, right?
listening. But I'm a proponent of I'm an advocate of celebrating good dads, and that's why I have this podcast. It's important that men that are present in their child's life get recognized for it, so that younger people, younger men thinking about starting a family, can look to those who are there present in their child's life and realizing the rewards of it. It's never going to be easy to be a parent, especially a dad, but there's no reason for you to walk away and say, I can't do this. You can, with time, patience, communication, and all of the good stuff. It is possible to stick in there, because it doesn't just affect the person that you're with, it affects the baby more than you know. So we
Yeah.
just
For
ask
sure.
you to continue to be present in a child's life and do the best you can, and ask for help when you need it.
For
Celebrate
Absolutely.
sure.
excellence and not mediocrity.
Facts.
Everybody have a have good holidays coming up. This is the end of the year, and we won't see you until next year, 2024. But thank you for watching all of our episodes this year. We appreciate you, and we hope we shed some light on why we want to celebrate that. Thank you so much.
Before before my phone dies, thanks for having me. This has been great. It's literally on like 1%, so it's gonna die any second. So
All
we'll keep going,
right.
but
All
I'm gonna
right.
disappear after a while from the
All right.
conversation.
All right. We out of here. Hey, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Thank you.